Tatiana Schlossberg is going through an extremely challenging and painful period in her life, one that she never thought would start the minute she gave birth to a new child. The daughter of Caroline Kennedy and Edwin Schlossberg announced her diagnosis of acute myeloid leukemia, a severe and aggressive kind of blood cancer, in an essay that appeared in The New Yorker on November 22. Tatiana made the decision to share her diagnosis with the world in her own words, at her own pace, and on her own terms, making the revelation both intensely personal and intensely emotional. Tatiana says in her essay that the diagnosis occurred mere hours after the birth of her second child in May 2024, when she should have been concentrating only on recuperation and joy. What ought to have been a tranquil period of bonding and acclimating to life as a mother of two turned into an unanticipated medical emergency. She describes how her white blood cell count was abnormally high when doctors first observed it. Elevated white blood cells can frequently be caused by a number of factors, such as stress, infection, or physical trauma like childbirth. As a result, the physician made an effort to gently explain the options, stating that the rise might only be connected to pregnancy and childbirth. Leukemia, on the other hand, was an inevitable possibility, albeit one that was discussed cautiously. Tatiana remembers the incident with remarkable precision. It appeared to be merely a talk. Beneath the words, though, she felt the seriousness of what could be happening. It was the kind of moment when everything seems to slow down, time seems to stand still, and even the tiniest details, like a doctor's expression, a hospital room's sterile brightness, or a tone of voice, become ingrained in memory. The ambiguity vanished in a matter of hours. Her doctors informed her that she had acute myeloid leukemia, AML, the most common form of acute leukemia in adults, and a malignancy of the blood and bone marrow, according to the American Malignancy Society. AML develops quickly and needs to be treated intensively right away. One of the things that makes it so hazardous is how quickly it progresses, and Tatiana's situation was no different. A diagnosis that required complete attention and quick action suddenly overshadowed the life she knew, the plans she had planned, and the happiness of welcoming her newborn daughter. Tatiana's life turned into a medical struggle that started practically immediately after that. After giving birth, she spent several weeks at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where doctors treated her leukemia and sought to swiftly stabilize her health. Most people can't imagine the psychological and physical toll of giving birth while dealing with a potentially fatal illness, but Tatiana was forced to deal with both at the same time. She was moved to another hospital to receive a bone marrow transplant following those first crucial weeks. Although this technique is frequently one of the most successful therapies for AML, it is also one of the most emotionally and physically taxing. Before new, healthy donor cells are added for a bone marrow transplant, the diseased bone marrow must be destroyed by chemotherapy or radiation. The procedure is risky, time-consuming, and painful. However, it represents the most optimistic possibility of remission for many individuals. Sadly, Tatiana finally relapsed despite the severity of the treatment and the expectation that the transplant may provide a turning point. She was forced to re-enter a world of uncertainty and medical procedures. She participated in a number of clinical trials this period, including some of the most cutting-edge experimental treatments currently offered in oncology. Clinical trials are frequently at the forefront of cancer research, offering access to therapies that are not yet commonly available but have shown promise in preliminary investigations. When traditional treatments don't work for a patient, they may be their only remaining alternative. According to Tatiana, taking part in the most recent clinical experiment was one of the most trying times. With empathy and candor, her physician informed her that he thought he might be able to keep her alive for a year. It is nearly hard to express the weight of those words. A person's perception of time, hope, priorities, and what really matters can all be drastically altered by such a statement. However, Tatiana does not concentrate only on dread, suffering, or hopelessness throughout her article. Rather, she consistently highlights the amazing support she has received from her family, demonstrating that their presence has been one of her greatest sources of strength throughout this terrifying journey. She expresses her sincere gratitude and admiration for her husband, George. She explains that he has done everything in his power to help her, speaking with physicians, understanding complicated medical information, handling insurance issues, and managing the innumerable logistical challenges that come with a serious illness. He became her advocate. He intervened without hesitation when she felt overburdened or unable to complete responsibilities. He refused to leave her side and slept on the hospital floor, she says, determined to be there for her every second, no matter how uncomfortable or uncertain. She also expresses her sincere gratitude to her parents and siblings. Tatiana talks about how her mother, father, brother, and sister have been raising her kids for the past year and a half, giving them security, affection, and a sense of routine during an otherwise turbulent period. Additionally, they've spent endless hours sitting with her in hospital rooms that turned into makeshift homes, places of terror, sites of resiliency, and places where mortality and life coexisted moment by moment. Through treatments, operations, and seemingly endless nights, her family supported her. She claims that they have made every effort to conceal their suffering in order to not have her bear the burden of their feelings in addition to her own. When those around you swallow their fear to make your world a little lighter and less frightening, that is love at its most unselfish. Tatiana's voice is thoughtful, sincere, and incredibly genuine. She doesn't act brave. She doesn't make an effort to downplay the significant impacts of her condition. She does not, however, give up her identity, her clarity, or her capacity to express what she is going through. Rather, she provides a personal, unvarnished look at what it's like to deal with a sickness that disrupts everything, including long-term aspirations and daily routines. She acknowledges the peculiarity of coping with the happiest and most tragic moments in life at the same time. Few people will ever truly understand the emotional whiplash of giving birth, a time full of hope, excitement, connection, and the promise of the future, only to learn within hours that one's own future is suddenly uncertain. But she recounts it with a serenity that conveys both tremendous strength and the forced maturity that results from going through something so profoundly transformative. Tatiana's essay is more than just a medical update. It is a personal story of a young mother battling for her life, overcoming her fear of not seeing her kids grow up, depending too much on loved ones, and facing death far sooner than she had imagined. It is an homage to her family, her medical team, and everyone who has supported her along the way. It also illustrates the complexities of living with cancer, including the fleeting beauty of support, the laborious daily struggles, the times of hope and despair, and the harsh realities. Her narrative illustrates not only her own fortitude, but also the more general difficulty that many families encounter when a loved one is given a terminal illness. It highlights the invisible work that caregivers do, the emotional toll